Hey guys, in this video I'll be comparing 2024 New York Pro Nick Walker and 2017 Arnold Classic Dallas McCarver. Both are often compared when it comes to the freakiness they've presented on stage and the wow factor of their physiques overall, so I thought that it would be a fun comparison to make. Both of these versions feature Nick and Dallas at similar ages. However, as many of you do know, Dallas unfortunately passed away in late 2017. I wasn't too familiar with bodybuilding back when he was competing. However, there is no doubt that he had incredible potential with all the size in the world. With that all said, who do you think will win this comparison? And also, who do you prefer as a bodybuilder? Let me know in the comments down below, and let's get into this video. The front double is a very powerful pose for both guys, mainly due to them possessing so much size and very massive arms. There's no denying that Nick is crushing Dallas in the arms, which is immediately evident when looking at the peaked biceps and clear separation between all the arm muscles. Dallas has tons of mass, however, he doesn't have that razor-sharp separation, a theme which continues when looking at the differences in the quad and the midsection condition. Just look at the deep cuts and the vascularity on Nick's quads. Even though they lack the sweep and the size, they look very conditioned and freaky. When Nick crunches down though, the details in the midsection become even more noticeable, as Nick has well-defined abs, whereas Dallas lacks any real development in that area. While I prefer Dallas's shape and flow, especially due to his smaller waistline and wider frame, he is lacking in conditioning, which is something that Nick takes advantage of and ultimately takes the pose. The front lat spread is definitely a pose that Dallas should win with ease, since Nick looks really mediocre at best. That said, Dallas's conditioning is also mediocre at best, and his lats are even being beaten by Nick in this pose. I'd say that Dallas only wins in the structure, the arms, and the shoulders in this shot, since his lats are undersized and underexposed, his legs are watery and under-detailed, and his chest looks a bit flat. His silhouette is great though, and the sheer size he carries might be enough to beat Nick, who actually does look pretty well developed, but he's pieced together improperly. I do like the lat exposure, full chest, and the details on the legs for Nick. However, I really can't get over the wide waist and the lacking quad sweep. If I had to choose between the two, I would probably go with Dallas. However, I can see a judge giving Nick the advantage due to the far superior condition that he possesses. The side chest is definitely more competitive, specifically for Dallas, since he doesn't look all too bad in terms of condition. His side leg is deeply cut in the quad ham tie-in, and his glutes even show faint feathering. Additionally, his arm and chest look dialed in enough, and his midsection is flush and controlled. That said, Nick clearly brings another level of detail to the stage, presenting intricate lines all over that chest, grainy details within the side leg, and tons of size and thickness. Is he as dense as Dallas in this pose? Definitely not. However, he brings quality muscle, freak factor, and conditioning, while executing the pose very well in my opinion. Now, his midsection could be tighter and his conditioning probably could be better as well. However, against Dallas, he handily wins in my opinion. I feel as though he's able to expose Dallas's lack of conditioning, especially in the chest, and he doesn't lose any ground in terms of size, except when maybe looking at the chest or the delt. The rear double is easily a Nick Walker shot, since he's mopping the floor in the back and in the lower body. Not only is he wider than Dallas while having a smaller frame, but he also brings the details that Dallas could only dream of in this version. He's got so much dry, hard separation in the hamstrings and in the glutes, solid detail within the back and the arms, and tons of size to match. I will give Dallas some props for having massive, ripped shoulders, huge arms, and a surprisingly shredded lower back, and as well pretty decent hamstrings too. However, Nick's total package simply takes the cake in this pose. He's just the more complete bodybuilder in my opinion, plain and simple. The rear lat spread is more of the same, since Nick once again takes this pose. I feel as though Dallas might not be opening up as much as he could, since his lats look a bit squished. This does accentuate the thickness in the back, which does look very impressive, and his Christmas tree is very pronounced. However, Nick is once again wider, similarly detailed, and has decent enough thickness as well. Like the last pose, Nick mops the floor when it comes to the lower body, since he makes Dallas look 4 weeks out of a show in comparison. To be fair, Nick does have some of the best hamstrings from behind when it comes to development and condition. However, Dallas really doesn't look to be at his best when it comes to the conditioning. Unfortunately, the footage for Dallas in this pose was not that high resolution, so keep that in mind. With that said, his silhouette and muscle mass are extremely imposing, especially that tricep, which looks incredible. I like the massive trailing calf as well, and his overall pose looks very good. I will say that his midsection could probably have been controlled a bit better in the lower portion, since compared to Nick, he does have a bit of a distension down there. Looking at Nick, I would say that he has a more aesthetic presentation, especially when it comes to the control of the waistline and the overall detail that he presents. We know from the side chest that Nick has far better conditioning and finer details in that side leg, while Dallas has a thicker chest and delt. Both look comparable in the tricep, with them possessing top-tier genetics in this muscle. While I'm a huge fan of Dallas's execution, Nick's conditioning and superior midsection might sway the judges in his favor. He undeniably looks more polished and put together, so I would personally give him the win. The ab and thigh is a really hard pose for me to judge since they both look pretty bad. Nick is extremely fridge-esque, especially with this version, since he has virtually no V-taper, no sweep to the quads, and an extremely wide waist. He is shredded to the bone and has far better ab development compared to Dallas. However, his shape and flow are nowhere to be found. In contrast, Dallas has a really nice flow to his physique, having a smaller waistline, more favorable insertions for the quads, and flared lats that help create a pretty decent V-taper. However, there are no details to speak of. When it comes to pure bodybuilding standards, Nick checks off the conditioning and the muscular development boxes, while Dallas checks off the muscular development and the shape boxes. While Dallas may look far more aesthetic in my opinion, I really just can't see myself giving him the win when he's so far off the mark in terms of conditioning. I mean, he has zero separation in the hip flexors, a major split in the abs, and watery conditioning all around. I would definitely go with Nick, however, neither are great or appealing in my opinion. The last pose is the most muscular, a freaky pose for both to end off on. Since the entire comparison has followed a similar pattern, I'll tell you right off the bat that this is a conditioning versus size battle. There's no denying that Dallas is bigger than Nick in the arms, delts, and the quads. However, he lacks the fine details all over. Nick isn't falling behind by much in terms of size, however, he pulls ahead by a very large margin when it comes to the detail. Look at the quality separation of the quads, the brachialis separation in the arms, and the thin skin all over his physique. He's just got that quality and the freak factor that I would look for in this pose. Now, if Dallas had the same conditioning, I would easily give him the win over Nick, since he's twice as aesthetic in many other poses and has tons of mass. However, this comparison showed that mass and decent aesthetics are nothing without condition. Anyways, let me know in the comments down below who you had winning as well as who you prefer, regardless of the two versions. If you enjoyed and want to see more, a like and sub would be awesome, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.